I'm at Data Centers Europe 2012 in Nice with Aaron Davis, Chief Marketing Officer at Schneider Electric. Aaron, you're talking today about energy. PUE's become quite an established measure of energy efficiency in the data center. How well do you think it's working, and where do you think it kind of runs out for data center owners and operators?
Well, I think just the very fact that we have a commonly accepted standard that people are now tracking, reporting, and actually creating a little bit of market competition on is an incredible accomplishment. I mean, when you look back to the origins of PUE, multiple companies that really did not like each other very much coming together to create an industry-accepted metric. What I see is very exciting about PUE is now the whole concept is extending to things like water, extending to things like carbon, and the whole mentality that's driven by this IT fast cycle time of let's measure, let's get better, let's measure again, let's get better. Constant commissioning is very exciting to see, where I think there's some limitations now very similar to what the old school people will remember when we used to talk about five nines of availability and reliability. The good thing with PUE is we don't have 5 or 6 decimal points, but there is a concept similar to what we saw with 5 nines 10 years ago of diminishing returns.
Right.
Whereas you're getting down to PUEs of 1.5, 1.2 as standards, it really gets to a point where you have to question what's that next point of PUE worth, what do I have to invest to get it, versus what I think is one of the more exciting things that is becoming apparent at the event today of concepts like demand response, energy pool. How does the most energy intensive application that a typical city might have, which is the data center, fit into a bigger picture of energy management? And what are the opportunities for today's data centers to participate in the very innovative new ways to save energy and therefore save money that are happening at that next higher level up? So PUE I'm really excited by, and I think it has been an important step. And I think the step that follows next is expanding this concept to other areas, from data center to buildings to cities, all the way up to the grid.
What about, because traditionally what we've done is put data centers where the power is, but traditionally that's also where the people are. What about the idea of data centers starting to move away from cities, or going even further, if you like, out into the sticks to find power?
Sure. Well, I think there's also been somewhat of a change of attitude. I think even just a few years ago, you could talk about the concept of server huggers, and it was a little bit of a joke, but there was some strong truth behind it, which is colos, even corporate data centers, the people in charge of those servers wanted to physically be able to go see them and visit them at lunchtime, and that was a real phenomena, and looking at it through a camera wasn't enough. And that really kept a lot of the data center capacity in high-cost areas. There has been, subsequent to that, an idea of, well, let's move to places where there's free cooling, or let's move to places where there's free hydro. And that will continue, because there are very, very real benefits to doing that. But I think one of the phenomena that's also creeping back into people's minds is the concepts of data, who owns data, data security, the impact on consumers, the fact that data in one country may be treated completely different in data from another country, nexus issues related to tax and e-commerce. All of these are maybe putting a little bit of a damper on the concept that we can go build data centers anywhere there's free cooling or hydro. Because the reality is a user may experience a cloud, but there will still be slightly national borders attached to that cloud, driven by data privacy and data protection issues, and these are very real issues.
Do you think in the end, though, it's going to be down to cost of energy, or do you really think those other factors are more powerful motivators now?
I think in the short term, the long term it will be down to cost of energy for sure. But take an example, you're the king of your own country, Damien, and you've decided that you're going to have data centers as a key investment area for your country. You have a choice with your laws. Do you protect the data, keep the data within your country, given the fact that many of the data may not be human-to-human data, it may not be Facebook, it may be critical machines talking to each other to make your country run. Now, how do you protect that with the expectation also that you may have a high energy infrastructure cost? And so there are different subsidies, there's different tax incentives that can be done, but as we've seen in the face of fiscal pressure, these go away quite quickly. So there will be a long-term view of, yes, data and energy are equal, and therefore you would want to situate your data centers where energy is cheapest, with the reality that some data needs to stay within countries, and some countries have higher cost structure. That will put pressure on governments in the short to medium term to identify and deal with energy costs in a very local way, which is good for the planet, because you will have renewables, you'll have microgrids, you'll have smart grid with much stronger adoption, and it will be driven by very real commercial needs, which history has shown are the best drivers of change at a company, but certainly even at a country level. I mean, there has to be a profit motive for companies to be more efficient. There has to be a profit motive for countries to invest in a smart grid. And I think you'll start seeing that come from the incredible density and energy intensity that the data center market brings.
Aaron, that's brilliant. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, Damien.